Well, I can share with you, Matt, that Nigel Farage says he has a firm job offer from the Trump re-election campaign. We're not exactly sure what this is, but he said it the other day, actually. And it's been a bit of a guessing game. But he said it, of course, just a few days before Rishi's announcement. And I think it's that's preoccupying him at the moment.
Washington Whispers on Times Radio.
Yeah, every Thursday we head across the Atlantic to find out what's happening in Washington. And because there's so much going on, we've had an upgrade from Alistair. David Chart of the Times' US editor is here. Hello, David.
Good morning, Matt, from Washington, D.C.
Now,
you shouldn't say that because Alistair's on holiday. You know that.
He won't be listening then. He won't know. He won't know, David. Shh. Now, David, just on the sort of the big question, does Rishi Sunak's rain-soaked election announcement have any impact at all on the psyche of America?
The main election story from overseas that is running today is actually from the Mexican election, which, as you know, is on June the 2nd. And there was a terrible accident during campaigning in northern Mexico when a stage collapsed, killing several people. And that, as far as I can tell from all of the American media, has got lots more coverage than the Sunak announcement, which is really... It's made very little impact over here, actually. I've seen very little coverage of it. It's strange, but I don't know whether these things are connected. But since Queen Elizabeth died, I'm finding there's a lot less interest in Great Britain.
Really?
And in the sort of in the politics of Great Britain as well. It's a strange dynamic that we're sort of following here. I think it's perhaps a bit hard for Americans to keep up with all the different prime ministers, and it's as soon as they learn a name, they're gone. So it may be that they can't keep up with the carousel of personalities.
And if I walked around America asking people, do you know who Keir Starmer is? How long would I have to be out there for before I found someone?
You would need several pairs of hiking boots to get that far. I think David Lammy is better known because, he attended Harvard and he's got quite good contacts on both sides of the aisle and has been somewhat in evidence over here. So if people know something about Labour politics nowadays in America, I think they'd probably know David Lammy. He struck up this relationship with J.D. Vance, the Ohio senator, who might be, and he's certainly among the small group being considered as Trump's running mate. So that would be a great in for the Labour Party if they do come to power. And Lammy is the foreign secretary to know a potential vice president.
Really interested in that. Really interesting that that's where the focus is. The big announcement here today, David, was Nigel Farage saying that he's not going to. I think would it have been his 8th attempt? I think to run to become an MP. So he's not going to stand for reform. But more interesting in a way was his reason for it. He said, important though the general election is, the contest in the United States of America on November the 5th has huge global significance. A strong America as a close ally is vital for our peace and security. I intend to help with the grassroots campaign in the US in any way that I can. So sort of opting to help Donald Trump more than Richard Tice. What impact does Nigel Farage have in America?
Well, I can share with you, Matt, that Nigel Farage says he has a firm job offer from the Trump re-election campaign. We're not exactly sure what this is, but he said it the other day, actually. And it's been a bit of a guessing game. But he said it, of course, just a few days before Rishi's announcement. And I think it's that's preoccupying him at the moment. And he is certainly not a huge figure on the public stage, but he is well known among a slice of the American electorate for occasionally popping up at Trump conferences and at conservative conferences like the CPAC, which is a big gathering of right-wing conservatives every spring. Sorry, I'm a bit hoarse because I've been in Texas for a few days and I've been living in air conditioning one minute, going out in the sun the next, and it's played havoc with my voice. But Farage does have some presence in America, I don't know about his influence. I don't know if he's going to convert anybody to the Republican cause, but it certainly seems that he's got some sort of job offer that's going to take him on the campaign trail over here.
Is it? I was just discussing this earlier. Is it possible for someone who's not American to be vice president or be in the cabinet?
Well, it's a good question. I think it's very unlikely. I think it probably hasn't happened since the founding
Yeah.
the founding years of America, when a lot of them were actually born in Britain.
Oh, in fact, I've looked it up. You
But
do. You said to be the president and vice president have to be a natural born citizen of the United States. So
yeah,
that
you
is
have to
actually
be
laid down.
you have to have lived in America for at least 7 years continuously before being chosen as a candidate to run in an election. So as VP. But as far as the cabinet goes, or senior administration officials, it's not unheard of for someone who perhaps was British, who maybe then takes American citizenship, to have a senior role. That could happen if Nigel was to perhaps change his passport, which he could do if he tried to settle in America. But he wouldn't be able to do it as a holder of a foreign nation's passport.
And just in terms of Trump and Biden, I mean, their election suddenly seems quite a long way off compared to ours. At what point could Donald Trump climb out from underneath all of his legal business and get back out on the campaign trail with or without Nigel Farage?
Well, we'll all be on holiday on July the 4th, of course, because that's the
Yeah.
national public holiday, the 248th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, as you know. So Trump's case in Manhattan at the moment is really wrapping up. We're going into summing up arguments on Tuesday, and then it will be with the jury, and we should get a verdict at the back end of next week, or maybe the following week. And it seems like that could be perhaps the only one of his 4 criminal cases that actually reaches the trial stage, because the other ones are really bogged down in legal arguments. Of course, we're waiting on the Supreme Court to decide in 2 of the cases, that these are the election interference ones at the national level and in the state of Georgia, whether he's even eligible to be prosecuted, whether he has immunity, because the January the 6th riot happened while he was still president, and so anything that he did then, perhaps he has presidential immunity for his actions, and that we're going to hear later in July about that from the Supreme Court. That's knocked those ones back. And in the retention of secret documents, that one is really mired in legal argument, and the judge has basically frozen the case while they decide whether the documents are too complicated for a jury to understand. That one looks like it's miles off the courtroom.
So plenty of road left to go. David, really good to speak to you. David Charter of the Times is US editor on our election as much as theirs.